man on the motorbike, on the ground, unresponsive. You could take Queen in the back of the car, they're 7 years of age, unresponsive maybe, or maybe his mother or father driving the car and they're unresponsive, or in some cases unfortunately they've been killed. Then you have another car here, a young lad here, so next thing he's sitting inside the car. So we have 3 casualties here at the moment. Anything can be done for any of these at the moment by just going in talking to them. We see this young man Michael here, he's sitting here looking at us, isn't he? Is he too bad? No, anyone that's looking at you is not too bad. We can see Kuveen in the back of the car over there, he's looking around. More than likely, if you come across the scene of a child involved in any sort of road traffic accident, any child that's badly injured will cry. If you ever come across a road traffic accident like this and the child is not crying and the child is very quiet, we're in trouble. A screaming child is always a good child in a road traffic accident or a traumatic event. A quiet child is a very dangerous thing. Normally what happens with children don't have reserves of sugar, salts and fats in their body, and what happens is children plummet very quickly. A child there, for argument's sake, you could cut the 2 arms off a child straight away, the child will walk around and suddenly drop dead. It's as simple as that, and that's how quick it happens. So if you ever come across a child with a head injury, a child that falls off something, bangs their head, they're concussed, and one of the ominous signs there is, sorry, I'm just laughing at my daughter there, she's videotaping me there. No doubt this will be thrown back in my face this evening. So if you're if you're dealing with a child and a child gets sick as a result of a head injury, that's a very ominous sign. It normally happens in the house. You've all seen it at some stage. The child falls over, gets a bump in their head, slight bit confused. There's a big thing happening in America now at the moment with all the big football players. They're all starting to drop dead, believe it or not, from getting all concussion bangs over a period of their career. They're dropping dead at 40, 41, 2 years of age. So the thing about it here is now we're just waiting on the ambulance to arrive. So wherever the lads are gone to, they're probably going off for chips or something, I know. But they'll be along in a minute. I'd like to thank you there as well today. So like when you're finished here, lads, we're doing free blood pressures inside. Advanced boys are here, talk to them about your tyres. And basically what's going to happen is now we're just waiting on the ambulance. So you can see the time period here alone. So what happens, we're waiting about 2 minutes for the lads so far. No sign of them coming, so wherever they're gone to, I don't know. Anyone sing a song, no? So basically, who would you think the priority here would be at the moment? The priority would be the person that's unresponsive. So if a gentleman here, he have an injury to his arm, if you can lift up your arm there, your right arm, you see his right arm there, he's an open fracture. That's not life-threatening in any shape or form. Most people are drawn to blood, aren't they? We all see that fella that falls down to town on Saturday night, a little cut to his head and the blood is everywhere. That's only capillary bleeding. And what happens, everyone starts panicking about a bit of blood. The most important thing is, when you see the lads coming in here, is airway, breathing and circulation. So what happens, they're the 3 most important components of anything. So if you're looking for any life-threatening injuries, the first thing we're going to check all the time is the patient breathing and do they have a pulse. If you're checking for a pulse on anyone, the first place you're going to check is in the carotid pulse. Are they? Okay, so Maddie is after contacting the ambulance service, somebody initially. So you can hear the ambulance. Lads, would you believe it? I was doing a class, we were involved with the Clonmel Heartsaver a couple of years ago. Gentlemen came to my classes one day and they were playing a tag rugby team match. There was about 1,800 people in the pitch, or in the game. Somebody collapsed on the ground, dropped dead, and no one rang an ambulance, would you believe? Because everyone else thought somebody was going to do it. So if you ever come across a situation like this, the first thing is do, lads, pick up your mobile phone and ring an ambulance. And even if it says somebody else says, I have done, do it again. So you can see the lads are coming in here at high speed. What happens is that they're loaded, they have loads of team members inside it. So what happens when they come out in, they're going to be dispatched around it. Somebody dropped the tape over there for the lads. Okay. So what happens then is jump out. Normally we should have a team leader coming out. Yeah. So we have the guards coming along here. Neve is going to come along. And for safety purposes, lads, the whole place is going to be shut down. So as you can see, Neve is there. She's going to go along then. And the guards have a protocol as well. And they have a great protocol in place. Unfortunately, that doesn't stop some people, as if you remember about 2 years ago blowing fines, a man came around the scene and killed a guard and a fireman. He was languorous drunk, I made no bones about it. He killed 2 people and he walked away scot-free at the end of the day, which was a joke. So you can see Kim on the ground here. Kim is dealing with the gentleman with the helmet on. She's after establishing that his area is open. Jim here, Jim is our paramedic on scene, so Jim is going to be dealing with the triage. Yeah, so Jim is dictating where everyone goes, because the whole thing about it is that we must have safety, okay? So we have one person in charge, because other than that we're going to have organised chaos. What's happening here then, in the back seat of the first car here, the Honda, we have a 7-year-old child involved in he's sitting in a child seat. The thing about a child seat there, lads, if you want to come along and talk to us afterwards, the first thing you have to check on the child seat to make sure it's not damaged. If the child seat is damaged or structurally sound, and if it's damaged, you can imagine the force that was involved. So if the seat is damaged, more than likely the child is hurt inside in the seat. So next thing, the lads are going to go along. So Cormac is here on the ground with Kim, and they're going to do a helmet removal. Doing a helmet removal like this, lads, is a highly skilled process. Basically what happens is, you can see Kim is rocking the helmet. You can't go along to somebody in a road traffic accident and whip it off, because what happens in some cases, believe it or not, if the impact was so bad that his head, he could have a fractured skull inside it. And what happens when you take off the helmet, then it allows the blood and the brain to actually move. Over here then, in the back of this car here, we can see Michael is being held by Michael. There's another Michael in the back. The guards have put around their flashy blue lights here, so you can see them on the ground. These are a great joke because they can be driven over in the scene of any accident. What happens at most road traffic accidents, when you come across, the first thing the guards or the ambulance or the fire brigade do, always shut down the road, don't they? For safety purposes. What happens, you can see that's on a fend-off position there that the lads have done. The most important people here now at the scene of this accident is ourselves. If we're going to be saving somebody's life, we want to make sure that we're safe as well. So you can see that the lads are working in a nice composed manner. Jim is over here, they're assessing the patients. Jim is talking in liaison with the guards there at the moment, so that's Jim's wife, which is Neil. Okay, inside trading there, that's going on. Okay, so Jim is after assessing that this young man is here. He has a head injury, but it's not life-threatening at this moment in time. He's still conscious and he's alert. Poveen is in the back of the car over there. Andrew is dealing with his leg fracture after he dealt with his airway, breathing and circulation. Kim here on the front here is dealing with this gentleman who came off the motorbike at high speed. And I'm going to ask Kim, is this patient responsive or unresponsive? Okay, so the patient is responsive, so this patient is able to talk to Kim, and that puts him in a kind of a stable position. If any patient involved in a road traffic accident is unstable, what happens is they will be the priority and we will take them out of there first. Even if somebody has lost their leg on the other side of a child with multiple injuries, but we work the more serious case to come out first. What happens is Jim then is liaising with the lads going around. So what happens, they determined that the spinal board is coming around for this gentleman here, so we don't know who's, I must talk to Jim in a second when he comes out. He's determining who's the most seriously injured at the moment, Jim. Okay, so Jim has dictated that the child is the most serious, so the child is going to be coming out. What happens at any situation, this is a whole dynamic process. At any situation, any one of these casualties can deteriorate, and then the emphasis could come off the child and go straight down to the man on the ground. As you can see there, Kim is after giving Neve a nice little job there to hold the hands, or hold the patient's head. That's the great thing about our job, lads. We all work as a team, whether it be the Guards, Fire Brigade, Civil Defence Force, or Redcross, any organisation like that. We'll take help of anyone. We'll also bring in bystanders as well from time to time. Brian is over here, lads. Brian is going to put a collar on Michael. As you can see there, Michael has a head injury, so Michael is getting a collar put on, and Gary or Brian is talking away to him. Over on the other side, Andrew there, and he's also fitting a collar on Coveen. Most important to immobilise that neck, and especially with children. Because the thing about children is, when you're dealing with a child, and even though the child is well strapped in, remember, if you look at your children, lads, the head is always bigger than the body, isn't it? And they normally have a tendency for going into the head. So when you have a child that collapses, the first place that they're always going to do is they're going to collapse and bang their head on the ground. When the patients are brought out, they're going to be brought up to the hospital, and we have great doctors above the hospital. I see a doctor over there, Dr. Osier, one of our top doctors here in Clonmel, and you'll be a very lucky man or lady or child to end up with Dr. Osier. So what happens is now the dynamics is still going well. Jim is floating around there. He's getting things organised. So the next person probably to come out is this person over here, the young child in the car seat. What happens then, Andrew, if the car seat is intact, is that Andrew? So the lads are. The lads have Coveen in the car seat. They're probably going to mobilise him in the car seat, and they're going to take him out in the car seat. If the car seat is still intact, we're going to keep him in the car seat. So the lads are talking about their plan of action. The thing about children and things like that is they must keep doing their blood pressure, keep doing their vital signs and things like that. So Kim is there now, she's talking to the guard. Kim is also doing a job as team leader as well here. She's going around, she's checking on the lads to see that they need help. Because what happens once you stabilise a patient once, you might have to keep reassessing it here. Jim was also going to go along, and he pulled along the door just to allow the lads a bit more mobility there. He's moving up the seat as well, because in a restricted area like this, you can see this car here is hit from the side as well, so more than likely it might have hit off a tree. And what happens, we call that a lateral impact. What happens, a lateral impact can be a very serious thing. While you say the door is fairly banged, but also a head forward motion. Normally what we look for on the windscreen as well is a bullseye. A bullseye is like, you know, when a stone hits it and it ripples around. Very serious thing. Because what happens is a person who's unrestrained, what can happen is their head hits it and they cause a skull fracture. Notice that some of the times we have to be very nimble to get into the tight spaces there. So what happens is the lads went along, they go along and they put Cravine in the car seat. As you can see, they're taking out Cravine in the car seat and they're using it as an immobilization device. Will you bring it up along here, Andrew? And we can talk through it here. So Andrew bandaged up his leg, so we stopped the bleeding on his leg. So what we're going to do now, while we have him up here, we're going to strap him down to the chair a bit more. We took him out just for the purpose of showing you exactly what's going on. In this situation with multiple casualties involved, we have spinal boards and scope, but we're still at we've only a few resources. So what happens is the lads are going to put a blanket either side of Cravine's head here, and they're going to tape him down and use this as a mini spinal board. It's a fantastic item, the car seat. But as I stated already, if the car seat is broken, what happens? The child has to come out of it straight away. Yeah, or even strap them into it, Jim, whichever you want to do. You can use the chair, whichever. But the lads, for this purpose here, they're going to use a kid. This kid, is the lads have it here, is a fantastic device, and we carry these on the ambulance. What happens is we're going to slip this down over our patient and immobilise him. The lads are coming up with a plan of action. The reason being, any bad movement on this child now can cause a spinal injury, and the child could actually be paralysed from the neck down. And as a young boy of 7 years of age, that's one thing you don't need to be happening. So the thing about it, the most important thing here with him is that his airway, breathing and circulation is in place, and what happens then is we don't worry too much about his leg at the moment. The thing about here is, you see the lads are being very, very gentle. They're holding the neck at all times. On the other side over here, Brian is over here and he's still dealing with his patient. He's assessing them. They're after bandaging up the head injury. They're checking the pulse, and it's all about airway, breathing, circulation. So we're checking his airway, breathing, circulation. We'd also like to thank John Ryan here, standing under me here, lads, for photographs today. He's supplying them. We also have a Facebook site here, and we're always looking for members on it. So anyone feeling free to join up with the Clonmel Heartsaver, we'd be delighted. So what happens is the lads then are going to go along and in conjunction. See this, the spine is nice and straight. The lads are doing a lovely job, okay? And they're leaving them down, so you just come up another small bit, yeah? So keep it out, okay? So next thing in conjunction with the guards. Also, we'd like to thank the Gardaí here today as well as for the Clonmel community police involved in all community groups around the place as well. They give up a lot of their time free as well to be here. The lads are wrapping up this child here. The reason they're putting this kid on him here now, so what happens, they're immobilising his pelvis as well in the eventuality that he had a pelvic injury. Most people, would you believe it, if you're an adult, what happens, you have about 5 to 7 litres of blood inside your body. You can lose 5 litres inside your pelvis. Whether you're a man or woman, it doesn't matter. You can lose 5 litres. So what Andrew is going to do here now in a second is going to do a full head to toe, just to give you a demonstration on what it's about. So when we talk about a head to toe, we talk about every section and every inch of the brain, the head, the neck. We check the ears, we check the shoulders down long. We'll expose the chest as well. If you're dealing with a lady, we'll expose it very gently, and we keep something there to keep the modesty of the patient at all times. As you can see, then we change over. Then what happens is we keep constantly changing, because people is a dynamic process. It's going to go along and be changed, constantly changing. Cormac is over there with Neve, and next thing Cormac is doing is he's assessing his vital signs, he's checking his airway, breathing and circulation. And this is a similar situation, Les, that we come across in most road traffic accidents. I noticed Kim over here, Kim is doing another set of vital signs on the patient. The reason being because we're looking for a parameter. So what happens, so for argument's sake, we say Cravine's heart rate is 110. He's a respiratory rate, his breathing rate is 20, and his blood pressure was 140 on 70. That's fine, that's perfectly fine at this moment in time, but in 5 minutes time it could change again. Cravine now is the most serious of the patients, and I'm just going to talk to Andrew. What injuries did you find there, Andrew?
He has a left fib and tib fracture there, so I'm after treating that, wrapping it up. It's after stopping the bleeding, thank God. I'm also after treating him as well for a spinal injury, so I have a collar on him, after checking his airway, breathing, circulation, and he's on 100% oxygen as well. He's still chatting away to me, and he's chatting to his friend Owen here from school, so it's we're okay at the moment, but we still need to go.
Excellent. Right, okay, so because of the mechanism of injury, you can see it's a high-packed impact. He's got hit doubly, and what happens is now Cravine goes unresponsive on Andrew.